Please remain standing for the national anthem by Mr. Freddie Britt and for the invocation by Reverend Coyle Estes.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Let us pray. Holy God, this is the day that you have made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. On this day, we give you thanks for the journeys that have brought us to this place. We thank you for students who have dreamed big dreams, for families and friends who have supported and encouraged them throughout the demands of law school. We thank you for Atlanta's John Marshall Law School and for the education that it provides. We thank you for deans who lead the school and help it achieve new goals. We thank you for trustees who stay the course, for professors who teach and challenge students to be the very best that they can be. We thank you for the staff who smooth the way for law school operations. While tomorrow will be a day for resumes and interviews and studying for the bar exam, let this day be a day of celebration. A day when students become graduates, and we cheer them on to their new dreams they hope to achieve. In your name we pray. Amen.
Please be seated. Welcome to the commencement exercises for the class of 2013 of Atlanta's John Marshall Law School. This is the culmination of a great deal of hard work over the past 4 years by our part-time students, the past 3 years by our full-time students, the past 2 years for our LLM students. The accomplishments of these graduates would not have been possible without the sacrifice, support, friendship, threats, help, and love of the spouses, parents, children, family, and friends gathered here today. Let us all join the graduates in thanking everyone in the audience for their support. I would like to introduce you to the members of the platform party who will not otherwise be introduced to you this afternoon beginning on my right, your left. Atlanta attorney Adam Malone, a member of our board of directors. Dean Tom Reed from Ocala, Florida, a member of our board. Georgia's Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, Carol Hunstein. And at the far end, our Associate Dean for Academics, Kevin Seepley, who will be assisting when the graduates walk across the stage. I also want to thank the Associate Dean for Administration, Michelle Harris, Cynthia Crawford, Sylvia Fernandez, Farrah Fisher, the law school staff, our student ambassadors, and other student volunteers for planning this event and ensuring that it will run smoothly. The program lists a large number of students who have distinguished themselves during their time at John Marshall in service to the school or the community or both, including the coveted Dean's Award. There are too many awards to mention individually, but I would like to ask several students to rise and remain standing as I mispronounce your name for some of these awards. The Judge Harold R. Banke Award, James Musgrove. I should say, to save wear and tear on yourself, wait until we've gone through all of these before applauding. The Outstanding Graduate Award, there were 19 graduating students nominated by the faculty for this award, so it was very competitive, showed just how much depth there is in the student body. The Outstanding Graduate Awards, 2 of them awarded to full-time students, Kimberly Roholt and Benjamin Stidham. Please stand. The part-time Outstanding Graduate Award went to Ginger Fowler. The Chief Justice Leah Ward Sears Pro Bono Award, Nicholas Baer. Excellence in Pro Bono, Jamila Lee, Samantha McClinton, Byron Singleton. Pro Bono Distinction, Glenn Albright, Andrea Allen, Danielle Bateau, Aaron Jones, Lilia Kolbenko, Michael Lloyd, Jessica Long, Mohammed Lawimba, Selwyn Patterson, Sarah Redparth, Carrie Richardson, Cherie Tumbling. The award for excellence in appellate advocacy, Candace Allen, and 2 already standing, Samantha and Benjamin. National Association of Women Lawyers Outstanding Law Student Award, Heather Johnson, and the American Academy of Matrimonial Lawyer Award to Ethan Williams. Will all of the student ambassadors please stand? All who served as SBA officers and representatives during their time in school. Everyone who participated on inter-school advocacy and competition teams. Please stand. Editors and staff members of the Law Journal. Everyone who's going to pass the bar exam on their first try, would you please stand? Applaud everyone. All right, you may be seated. I'm pleased to introduce to you this year's recipients of the John Marshall Distinguished Alumni Award. Their photos will join the lineup of distinguished alumni on the 7th floor of our new classroom space, and it is an impressive list to join. First, Tavis Knighten. Tavis came to law school with a strong academic background and an incredible work ethic. He was a student leader, volunteer, and we still use his photographs in all of our law school marketing materials 8 years later. We will continue doing that, Tavis, and you will be forever young. He's the managing attorney for the insurance defense firm Worsham, Corsi, Scott & Knighten, and also has a separate solo practice as well. Tavis models professionalism for these graduates and our current students by being active in professional legal organizations and by giving back to the community through his pro bono work and volunteering. As a member of the John Marshall Alumni Board and a genuine supporter of the law school, we are proud of his life and career with much more yet to come. Tavis, come up here. Professor Kathleen Birch will introduce our next distinguished alumnus who will speak to us at length, Representative Doug Collins. Professor Birch is the director of our Micronesian externship program, arranged our partnership with the local ACLU chapter, is a former Associate Dean for Academics and a frequent speaker and commentator on constitutional law issues. Professor Birch.
Graduates, family, friends, colleagues, and esteemed guests, for 80 years, John Marshall Law School has been educating lawyers in Georgia. During that time, the law school's mission has been to prepare highly competent and professional lawyers who possess a strong social conscience, continually demonstrate high ethical standards, and are committed to the improvement of the legal system and society. I have the honor today to introduce an alum who exemplifies our mission, Representative Doug Collins. A native of Georgia, Representative Collins received his BA in Political Science and Criminal Law from North Georgia College and State University in 1988. A Master's of Divinity from the New Orleans Baptist Theologic Seminary in 1996, and his Juris Doctorate from Atlanta's John Marshall Law School in 2008. After college, Representative Collins served 2 years in the United States Navy as a Navy chaplain. Post 9/11, Representative Collins joined the United States Air Force Reserve Command, the 94th Airlift Wing at Dobbins Air Reserve Base in Marietta, and was deployed in 2008 to Balad Air Base in Iraq. In 2006, while still a student at John Marshall, Doug was elected to the Georgia House of Representatives, winning re-election while deployed to Iraq, and representing Georgia's 27th district for 3 terms. During that time, he worked on legislation such as the reform to Georgia's Hope Scholarship Program and the expansion of charter schools. He also served as one of 3 administrative floor leaders for Governor Nathan Deal during his final session. In November 2012, Doug Collins was elected to the United States House of Representatives, representing Georgia's 9th Congressional District, and currently serves on the House Judiciary Committee, Foreign Affairs Committee, and Oversight and Government Reform Committee. It is with great pleasure that I give you Representative Doug Collins, John Marshall Class of 2008.
Well, good afternoon. Oh, come on, you got to be a little more excited than that. Let's try it one more time. Good afternoon. That's much better. I like that. For those of you who happen to not nose off during my my resume, I guess, reading, which I appreciate so much, Dean, and I appreciate so much being asked back to be a part of this, because just a matter of a few years ago, I was sitting right where you were. And when she talked about that, it brought back a lot of memories, because as I was sitting where you were ready to get my diploma and to get out and get ready for the bar exam, I knew that 2.5 months after I received my diploma, walking across this stage, I was deploying to a war zone. And it just brought back those memories of what life can travel and how you can travel with it. This law school means a lot to me, and with this board and this faculty, some of which are probably shocked to see me standing here. I am excited to be here and to be a part and representing not only John Marshall, but representing the state of Georgia and Washington, D.C., and which is an interesting place to say the least right now. As you noticed, I was one of my middle degrees was I have a Master's of Divinity from New Orleans Baptist Theological Seminary, which means that I'm a Baptist minister. And I'm telling you right now, for those in the house, if the Baptists don't raise their hands, they may shout a little bit, they don't raise their hands or move much, but you can at least get an amen when I tell you that it is killing me right now to stand behind this podium. All right, I heard a few in the audience. There we go. Well, I tell you, today, I just wanted to spend some time, because if all of you have attended graduations before, and there was a joke that the dean and I spoke of just a few moments ago. If you can name your graduation speaker, you would probably win a prize of trivia at some point. And so I hold no hopes in the sense that you might remember my name, but I hope that today you will remember that during my few moments that I speak to you, that there will be some things that you can carry with you. This day is important because not only is it a day in which it is a beginning and an end, it should be a time in which you reflect that what you have come to now simply should be the time that you start looking to when you will do nothing anymore. Does that make sense? Right now is the time that you need to be thinking about those times. Have you ever seen a tombstone? Have you walked up to a tombstone and it has the date that you were born, it has the date that you die, and in the middle they either have a gap or they have a hyphen drawn there, a little space. I call it the in-between. It's that end space. It's that space in which you actually live. You ever notice that? We always commemorate the birthday and the death, but we never talk about the middle. That's what you live. And starting today with this achievement, and for those who've taken the bar, God bless you. For those who are going to take the bar, you've got just a little bit longer. But this is the time when you start looking at what do people want to say when they start penciling in that last day. And you say, golly, a Baptist preacher's being morbid up here. Why are we doing this? No, I'm not. I'm trying to get you to focus on what really matters, because in the end, there will be somebody sometime on your passing will look back upon your life and they will fill in the gap. And my question to you is do you want them making it up, or do you want to put it in there? Do you want to have a difference, or do you want somebody just to make it up and say, well, they were pretty good, knew them back when? Or do you want to say, no, this is how they touched my life. This is how they changed their community. This is how they changed their world. And if you believe that, then that's worth being here for today. So you need a map. But I'm going to say something. I'm just for those here today. I know I realize that for the graduates in particular, I'm one of the main things standing between you and your diploma. I'm standing between you and your family, getting the pictures and the hugs and all those kind of things, the barbecue. And then for some of you, I am standing in the way of what is going to be beginning of a wonderful headache in the morning. For some of you, you might realize that when you wake up tomorrow. So this is why I want to impart a few of life's lessons, but I want to do so in a way maybe a little different. I want to talk about life not in the thous and verilies and here's 10 things I learned. When I was first pastoring, I wanted to do a sermon on parenting. And at that point in time, I only had a small child. She was only less than 1. And I talked to a friend about this who had been pastoring many years. He said, Doug, I'm not sure I would do that. I said, why would you not do that? He said, well, when I first began to pastor, he said, I did a sermon called 10 Commandments of Parenting. He said, then I had kids. He said, now I just do 10 suggestions, take which of them work for you, okay? So I wanted to figure out how can we learn something today as we go through in something that most all of us in here enjoy. How many of you in here enjoy music? There we go. Get something, we all will listen to the radio. It's the only instrument I can play is a radio. So I enjoy it a great deal. So when you think about this and you think about law school, some of you may have felt when you started it was about like a Gnarls Barkley song, you were just crazy. And for some of you, when you were sitting in contracts or property, you may have just felt a little Pink Floyd, you were comfortably numb. Or maybe you just, by now, about that midway in the first and second year, you want to just hit journey and don't stop believing. You know, it's also for those of us who also from a faith background, some of you just got into the middle of it and said, it's by only amazing grace that you're sitting here today. Or count your many blessings. Thank God for parents in the room. They're through. So as we look at this today, I want you to think that maybe on this moment, you may be wanting to get out your recorder or maybe get your MP3. I'm from an old school. I still understand what a record is. But you may like to play Good Life by Kanye, or maybe it really should be I Don't Want to Miss a Thing by Aerosmith. Because this is what we have to look at. There's a few things that I want to gain from this, just these few moments together. The first one is that I want you to, for those who know me or get to know me, I just sort of cut to the chase. Life is not easy. Okay, we can go home now. Life isn't easy. You've got a diploma. You're going to take the bar. You're going to pass on the first time. We're going to beat the other 4 schools in the state of Georgia. You're going to have 100% this time. Oh, come on. You got to at least help me out there. All right. But you know, I want you to understand that conflict is inevitable. Conflict is inevitable, and you're going to face conflict. And I told you I was going to use songs to highlight this. I'm a little bit of a country music fan, and Miranda Lambert has this great song out right now. It says, "This ain't your mama's broken heart." I love if you ever listen to that song, it says, basically her mother is trying to tell her to get it all together, to put your makeup on, you know, hide your crazy. Some of you have shown you're crazy a little bit during final exam week, maybe. But hide it out, because perception matters. You know, you will hear people tell you all the time, if you just have the right stuff, if you have the right law on your side, if you have the right casework, you stay up late, you do all those things, that you're going to win every time. I've got news for you, you'll lose. Because life's not easy. And conflict will occur. But I'm going to tell you, perception matters. That's why I chose that song. Because she's basically saying is, clean yourself up, quit your crazy, get back in life, because no matter what happens, conflict is inevitable. The way you handle conflict is what people will remember. I am one of those from the South. If I disagree with you, as I had a little small disagreement with the Attorney General of the United States this week, I'm not on the Christmas card list anymore. But I still smiled. It's the one thing that we have, and I'm a child of the South, that we have, is that when we disagree, that we just end it up and we look at them and we can disagree and say, I believe you're dead wrong, and we smile. It throws the world off. If your attitude and your perception hides your crazy, you may want to go nuts, but if you sit back and understand conflict for what it is, a momentary passing of time, your attitude will get you further than you can ever imagine. It will be the thing that gets you down the road. If you want to have someone at the end of your life, when you filled in the gap and not them, say, you know, no matter what they went through, no matter what personal turmoil and what conflict, no matter what case in your firm in which people on all sides, and believe me, attorneys are some of the most vicious in the world with each other. if they end up in today saying, you know, I may have disagreed with them vehemently, but you know, in the end, he always or she always smiled at me and shook my hand. That's what I'd like somebody to be saying about me. It's all about perception. Conflict's a given. Your choice of how you deal with it is yours. Then there's one that is very close to my heart, because I have a 21-year-old, a 17-year-old, and a 14-year-old. And I will have to admit, getting elected to Congress is a pretty neat thing. But unfortunately, lately I have gotten to know Delta attendants and saw some of their families more than I have seen my own. Because traveling back and forth and traveling to the marriage commitments remind us that separation is a problem at times. And there was a song for those of us old enough in the room to remember it by Harry Chapin called Cats in the Cradle. Some of you may have remembered it. If you don't, go home, Google it, YouTube it, you'll find it. But when you listen to it, listen to what the song talks about. It talks about the story of a father who did not have time for their children. I'll use mother here as well. A mother or father didn't have time for their son when they were growing up, and then when they got old and wanted to spend time with them, their sons and daughters didn't have time because they were just like you, Dad. What I'm going to encourage you, and if you have kids today, make every remember to make sure that you spend time with your family. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I may be able to serve as a United States Congressman. I may be able to serve in various capacities. I may be an attorney, a pastor, and all those other things, but I carry no greater title and honor in this world than to be called husband and father. And if you really want to know what matters in the gap, it'll be those who clothe you best. And if you don't have a family or you are single, that's a great place to be, because you can be family to everyone. The question is, will you? The question is, do you want to? The question is, will you open up yourself enough to care about those closest to you? But there's going to be a lot of pull. And there's going to be a lot of want to go out and do. But never forget this. The path that is strongest is the strongest at home. It is the one that is closest to home, that has roots. You can still have roots and wings, as the movie said one time. And I encourage you to fly as high as you can, but always remember where you come from. As I'm keeping my promise to realize that your diplomas are waiting, the last thing that I have, and there's one movie series. Now, some of you may like this movie series, some of you may not. That's okay. I like it. I'm smiling. It's the Rocky series. Who could not like Rocky Balboa? You know, Adrian comes to me. I see Rocky. Rocky makes life. There's life movies that could be written about Rocky, not just his, but ours. And back in the 80s, there was a song that came out of one of the Rocky movies called Eye of the Tiger. And it's about staying focused. It started by staying focused on what life matters and where you want to go. And by the way, it's a pretty good song if you want to study with the bar. You know, as you look forward, and I said it a few moments ago, life is going to be difficult. And sometimes you're not going to get what you want. And what I found in Rocky, in one of his last movies, and yes, there was a last movie because they had to make up for Rocky V, he made a statement to his own son. And he said this, listen to it. It said, "The world ain't all sunshines and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done." Attitude to you today is this. You can go around, and in the coming years, it's going to be possibly just a moment of time where you're going to blame somebody else. You're going to blame something you didn't get or something that didn't happen. And life is going to come up and it's going to smack you right in the face. But it ain't about how hard you get hit. It's about how much you move forward once you get hit. It's about moving forward and understanding that you've been given a gift today. It's a gift of life and it's a gift of an education. It's a gift of a choice and it's a gift of a future. It's a gift of knowing where I am right now and where I want to be in the end. To quote Rocky one more time, going in for one more round when you don't think you can, that's what makes all the difference in your life. So as I close today, for some it will seem, in the words of that philosopher Nelly, it was just a dream. But the reality is that it is more like It Ends Tonight by the All-American Rejects. Now is the time to put down your marker. Now's the time for you to decide what your map looks like. Now is the time for you to decide what you want someone else to say, what song you want them to bring up. Because you have a song in your life. It comes from deep within you. It is placed there, I believe, by your Creator. It is placed for you to sing. Do not go through the next years of your life, whether they be short or long, and not take this education and not take these family members and loved ones who are here and let them hear from the bottom of your soul what your song is. This is your day. Take your song, use it, and realize that is what will get you through. And in the end, they will say, he or she filled their gap, and I don't have to make it up. God bless you, students.
You still have to go to church tomorrow. You're not excused just because you heard Representative Collins. Thank you, Doug. We really appreciate your being here. We're really proud of what you've done. Today, we're pleased to make Dean James P. White a member of this graduating class by awarding him an honorary doctorate from Atlanta's John Marshall Law School. I've known Dean White for 20 years, since I first became a law school administrator elsewhere, and he, along with Dean Reed, encouraged me to apply to be Dean at John Marshall 7 years ago, for which I'm especially grateful. To present the honorary degree, I call upon Dr. Michael Markovitz, the longtime chair of John Marshall's Board of Directors. After approximately 12 years service as chair, Dr. Markovitz recently became the treasurer of the board when Atlanta lawyer and former Atlanta bar president Richard Herzog was elected chair this March. And Mr. Herzog will also be helping confer the degrees on our graduates in a few minutes. Dr. Markovitz invited Dean White to join our board of directors, and we'll tell you a little bit about him right now. Dr. Markovitz?
Thank you, Dean Lynn. Good afternoon, everyone. Graduates, parents, friends, family, significant others. It's an honor for me to be here this afternoon and to be given the opportunity to introduce our fellow trustee, my longtime friend, James P. White, who, as Dean Lynn has said, joined our board. I think it's about 15 years ago or so that he joined the board. And I recall when I went to meet him in Indianapolis to ask him if he would join, he had recently retired as the consultant. Consultant is actually not really the right word. Consultant implies a certain distance from the project. But actually, in the ABA, the person who's the consultant on legal education holds a great place of distinction and is able to exert considerable influence over the life of the schools that are accredited, over the rules and standards by which accreditation occurs. So it was with some trepidation that I approached him and spent a number of hours chatting with him about the prospects of joining our board. We were not even accredited at the time. And it has been, I am grateful that he agreed to do it. I think he could then have an opportunity to see from the inside how law schools operate, how our law school operated, and I was delighted that he accepted. But the American Bar Association started its accreditation of law school project in the 1920s, at which time the first set of accreditation standards were established. For many years up to that time, and for a number of years thereafter, law was primarily an elite profession. By policy, by the admission policy of many of the law schools in this country, in those days, the representation of women, minorities, immigrants, and members of certain religious groups were limited at America's various law schools. In 1973, Jim White became the consultant on legal education to the section on legal education and admission to the bar of the American Bar Association, a position he held for 26 years until his retirement in the year 2000. And during his years there, he imprinted upon the accreditation process and standards ideas not only of quality in legal education, but more importantly, in my mind anyway, of equality of opportunity as well. Everyone knows that of all America's professions, the law sends more of its members into public service than any other. It flows from this fact that the policy-making organs and instruments that shape society are largely in the hands of lawyers. Under Jim's leadership, the representation of women in American law schools during his time increased by more than 130%, and the representation of minorities in American law schools has also significantly increased by more than 150%. Jim has had a strong hand in making it such that law school students and faculties represent the evolving diversity of American society. And through it, the employment patterns relating to the organs of power in America, these have come to likewise represent the diversity of our great country. American legal education is recognized around the world as the gold standard. Jim, as a specialist in comparative law, has consulted around the world on the establishment of law schools and the development of academic and ethical standards for lawyers. After the fall of communism, he helped develop the ABA Central and Eastern European Law Initiative to promote rule of law in the former Soviet republics. And he is also a member of the China-United States Commission on Legal Education. And if any place needs to develop further rule of law and legal education, I can tell you it's China. Under his leadership, in this era of globalization, many law schools have likewise developed international programs, summer programs, international programs, co-degree programs, and so forth, to broaden the perspective of both American and foreign law students without compromising the high standards that Jim has established for legal education in this country. He truly is a great, great American educator. With that, I am utterly delighted to be participating and presenting to him the honorary degree. Jim?
Good. You're good over there. Oh, we missed the board.
You can move your tassel.
I did.
There you go.
There you go. And your diploma too. Good. Thank you. Okay.
Dr. Markovitz, Dean Lynn, Mr. Herzog, let me say and fellow graduates, since I'm now one of yours, it's a great pleasure for me to be here with you today at this commencement day and to be honored by the conferring of an honorary degree. As Dr. Markovitz recollected, my early associations with Atlanta's John Marshall Law School were very different. It was not the best experience I had as consultant on legal education to the American Bar Association. The school had applied several times for accreditation from the American Bar Association, but alas, it was not forthcoming. The ABA recognized the school had a very unique mission since its founding in 1933 as a freestanding law school, and has faithfully maintained its founder's original purpose and goals to provide a legal education to those who, for a variety of reasons, are unable to attend a more traditional program, and second, to provide an opportunity to afford legal education to students traditionally unrepresented in the legal profession. And that's a laudable goal, and indeed should be the goal of every law school in the United States. As laudable as it was the school's mission, John Marshall Law School did not comply with the number of standards of the American Bar Association. The ABA observed there was a paucity of resources, inadequate facilities, no real commitment for permanent facilities. There was a high student-teacher ratio, few elective courses, high attrition rate, and no real commitment from the then board. The ABA emphasized the need for a reliable plan for the institution to develop its potential because the ABA believed that Atlanta area had the need for a law school like John Marshall. The rest is history. The board was acquired by another entity, and then Dean Dr. Markovitz came on board. Dean John Ryan was appointed as dean, and because of the strong leadership of these two gentlemen, substantial improvements were made. Standards for faculty hiring were revised and strengthened. New faculty joined the school. The credentials of the students have been enhanced. The curriculum was restructured and made more rigorous. The library was expanded, and the major renovations to the physical plan were completed. As Dr. Markovitz remarked, he came down to Indianapolis to see me, and we talked for some time, convincing me that his goal and the goal of the new board of John Marshall Law School was to live up to the original mission of the institution, but to do it in a proper way to provide the kind of quality legal education that would permit every graduate of John Marshall to pass the bar and to enter the legal profession. I observed that I liked his mission, and indeed I agreed to join the board. And as we know, legal education as a profession now exists in a very different way than it did in 2013. Very different, with more facilities, curriculum, as Dr. Markovitz mentioned, much overseas activity, and indeed a much better legal education, clinical legal education, skills training, etc. But we also must look at the fact that we have a changing nature of the practice of law. There is a significant decline in law school applications over 2 years. The cost of legal education has reached at times astronomical proportion. There is an increasing burden of student debt. All of these pose challenges for American law schools and American legal education. Yet it's critical that we have a bar that is well educated and trained to serve the needs of all specters of American society, from major corporations to the sole individual who needs help with a contract, disposition of a particular case, help in a whole variety of areas. And I'm confident that the John Marshall that you are graduating from today is committed to surmounting any challenges that continue to exist, and will continue to be mindful and committed to this very special mission of educating a very special group of students to serve the public at large. Again, I'm very honored to be receiving this degree.
At John Marshall, we have two valedictorians, one from the part-time division and one from the full-time division. The valedictorian for the part-time division is Thomas David Backus. Thomas is originally from Wichita, Kansas. He received a Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from Georgia Tech, and while attending law school at night, worked full-time as a research engineer with the Georgia Tech Research Institute. For those of you who don't know, part-time students take the same courses from the same professors as full-time students do, but they do it 3 to 4 nights a week, year-round, for 4 years, while balancing full-time work, family, school, and other obligations. Thomas exemplifies the drive, determination, and character of the part-time division graduates. Thomas?
Thank you, Dean Lynn. There's a common saying among law school students, and it goes something like this. The A students become professors, the B students become judges, and the C students become millionaires. So I'm thinking that being valedictorian is a bit of a dubious honor, but thank you anyways. I first came to John Marshall back in the late summer of 2009, and I first met my classmates at the student orientation in August. I remember thinking to myself that this had to be the most random assortment of law students that anyone could come up with. We had people who were young and old, different backgrounds, East Coast, West Coast, people who were working as engineers, pharmacists, paralegals. We even had a former NFL player. But over time, I came to discover that this class did in fact have a common trait. This was a class that was defined by its scrappiness. We had that determined spirit to take on whatever challenged us. I saw this trait in my classmate Carlton, who would fly halfway across the country on the weekends to take care of a sick parent and still show up Monday morning for work and for school that night. I saw this trait in my classmate Ashley, who had her first child during law school, and a couple days later was taking final exams. Time and time again, this class rose to the occasion without complaint. Despite the 12-hour days of work and school, we still found time for those things that were really important. We all entered this law school with an uncertain future. At the time, the economy was suffering, the legal market was hemorrhaging jobs. However, our determination to make our lives better for ourselves, for our family, and for our community could not be overcome by these uncertainties. And it's this spirit that makes me believe that this class has the type of advocates that our community and our legal system need. Advocates who eschew status and do what it takes to get the job done, no matter what the obstacles are. And so I believe that our walk across this stage is most meaningful not because of the future lawyers we will become, but mostly because of the people we have already been. To the class of 2013, I say congratulations. I'm so grateful to count you all as friends. To our families, parents, loved ones who helped us get here, we all say thank you to you. And with that, God bless, and go John Marshall.
The valedictorian for the full-time division is James David Williamson. Dave has 2 degrees from the University of Georgia, a bachelor's in political science and a bachelor of business administration and management. At John Marshall, he worked as a research assistant for Professor Rapping, earned the Cali Award for 3 courses, was published twice in our law journal, and interned at the Cobb County DA's office. He took the February bar exam as a December graduate, and like the other December graduates, we'll find out next Friday that he passed it. Dave wants to be a prosecutor and is interviewing for that position now. Dave?
All right, I've read the program. I know I'm all that's in between us and the degrees. So, Dean Lynn called me yesterday. He says, you got 24 hours. come up with something good. And suggested talking about what I'm looking forward to, for our legal education and for our class. I was trying to figure out whether to say something serious or, funny, and I remembered I went to law school, so I'm going with serious. All right, what am I looking forward to? What's the hope for my future as well as my fellow classmates? What has this legal education gotten us? It seems almost every day you hear about situations or things happening to people. It doesn't seem fair. Bad things happen to good people. You hear about these things and you want to say, someone should do something. Why is no one doing something about this? That's us now. We put ourselves in a position to do something about it, whatever it may be. I'm currently, as you said, interning at the DA's office, and this past week I helped assist prosecute a guy that had taken advantage of a mentally handicapped girl. And you hear these stories and it's like, why can't we do something about it? It's not just the field of prosecution, it's the story for a defense attorney when you've got a young man or a young lady who maybe made a poor decision and is getting ready to get swallowed up by the system and just needs a second chance. And without someone's help, they're going to be floundering by themselves. Or the scenario of a person stricken that's got lifelong injuries because someone else was negligent. It has not their fault at all. But they have no idea what to do. And with the help of an attorney, they'd have no way to recover. Scenario could simply be one of an older couple, one without much money that just wants to get a document together to help prepare and make sure their property goes where they want it to go when they pass. All of these scenarios, they make you say, can someone not do something about this? Can someone step in and help? Well, that's us now. And we've put ourselves in a position to be able to do something about it, whatever it may be. And that's what I'm looking forward to, and that's what my hope is for our class, is that each and every person, no matter what area of legal practice or maybe even non-legal practice that you go into, that we be able to help people and be that person that does something about it and make an impact in people's lives, like Representative Collins was talking about, filling in that gap. And I hope that our lives are enriched and fulfilled because of that ability. With that, I'm going to get off the stage. I would be remiss without thanking my wonderful family. Of course, I'm sure our graduates all feel the same way. We owe you guys a great deal of gratitude. To the professors at the school, thanks to my study group, y'all, you know who you are. Section B out there, we know we were going to kill this. Thank you, guys.
Dave mentioned that bad things do happen to good people, and sadly, 2 members of this graduating class are not with us to receive their diplomas. Andy Crawford and Tawny Adams were taken from us before their families and friends could see them graduate from law school. Accepting Andy's diploma is his sister, Molly Crawford. Molly, where are you? And accepting Tawny's diploma are her children, Mike and Michaela. These graduates have persevered and triumphed and are well prepared to pass the bar exam, become excellent lawyers, public servants, and community leaders because of the dedicated work of the John Marshall faculty sitting behind me. I will ask them to stand so the graduates and all of us can thank them for their excellent teaching and mentoring of these graduates. Chairman Herzog, ladies and gentlemen, the graduates of the class of 2013 have successfully completed the prescribed course of study and are qualified for the Master of Laws in Employment Law or the Doctor of Jurisprudence degree. Graduates, please come forward.
Denise Walton Clark. Clarice A. Flood. Kim Leah Milstead. Kenneth Michael Pleasance. Anna Dominica Sokol. Jason Joseph Adams. Itunu Adeluba. Tristan Tenney Alba. Glenn Albright. Adam Alfred. Andrea Allen. Candace Michelle Allen. Maureen Roxanne Anderson. Victoria Diane Anderson. Eric Milton Applefield. Thomas David Bacchus. Tuttle Wright Barksdale. Ashley Barnett. Karen Barrios. Beverly A. Beal, Jr. Taylor Bennett. Tanika T.K. Bent. David Berhananu. Andrea Lynn Betts. Jessica Olivia Black. Husseina Tu Tangu Blake. Gerald Arthur Boone. Karen Elizabeth Booth. David Scott Borum. Andrea Yvette Boyd. Bethany Cecilia Brasher. Michael Cameron Brill. William Edward Brooks. Zanab Major Brown. Tiffany Elisa Brunson. BJ Basil Buchanan Jr. Nicholas William Boer. Obriza Lee Terrell Bullard. Aaron Matthew Byrne. Angeliqua Burns. Brannon Edward Burrows. Danielle Nicole Buteau.
Go Team John Marshall!
Jimmy Scott Caldwell. Anthony Joseph Capozzolo III. Vidi Dinah Guido Carrion. Sammy Carson. Justin Cawthon. East Childs. Jennifer Neal Clark. Crystal Tran Cortez. Randall J. Covard. Ashley Suzanne Cox. Emily E. Crabb. Jason Allen Cummick. Xavier Aloysius Cunningham. Terry Lynn Doherty. Zachary Davis. Rebecca Debazorgi. Johan De Jong. Matthew Coleman Dickinson. Lindsay Elizabeth Doss. Lauren Elizabeth Dukes. Joshua Dumas. Deborah Bennett Dutton. Jacob Edward Elder. Chris Feeney. Lauren Mackenzie Farrell. Michael Anthony Finello. Max E. Fishman. Sean Dennis Fitzpatrick. Brendan Chase Flanagan. Ginger Lee Fowler. Jenna Melton Fowler. Gloria Bernadine Franklin. Jarrett S. Frierson. Matthew Robert Garton. Gregory J.P. Jelpy. Sorry, Gregory Joseph Jelpy. Maureen Punja Gashwala. Megan Lindsay G. Ordano. Jacqueline Renee Givens. Pamela Sue Grimes. Daryl Hall. Keith Allen Hancock. Matthew John Hansen. William Starr Hardman Jr. Lakiera Janice Harris. Marissa Harrell. Andrea Marie Hibbert. Chandra Danielle Hicks. Christopher Arthur Hoytink. Amanda Leah Hornensky. Stephen Patrick Horn. Jonathan Richard Huddleston. Kamayu Hall. Desmond Antonio Humphrey. Thomas Chan Wong. Rob Thomas Irvin. Rashi Imer. Evita John Tarawi Wergun. Dayun Jong. Carrie Renard Johnson. Donovan Sean Johnson. Heather Louise Johnson. Aaron A. Jones III. Narissa Jewett Jackson. Stephen Peter Congers. Jason Kim. Kimberly Andrews Kirby. Lalia Kovlenko. Kimberly D. Lamb. Pete Lamb. Sarah Lumond. Robert Lang. Gwendolyn S. Larkin. Peter Larson. Whitney Ann Law. Richard Lawrence. Jamela Lee. Carlton Lenore. Lachana Sherelle Lindsay. Karima L. Lewis. Christopher Light. Timothy Taylor Lyles, Jr. Michael Raymond Lloyd. Jessica Lynn Long. Lena Lozano Oviedo. Mohammed Salih Luwamba. Marquise Lewis Malloy. Jenny Manzer. James Austin Martin. Dana Matthews II. Lauren McAlpin. Samantha Megan McClinton. Susan Jeanette McCoy. Sherelle McRae. Aaron Kenneth McCulloch. Charles Raphael McMenemy. William Logan Millines. Wilson Benjamin Mitchum III. Karsten Fagan Mock. Tyler Moffitt. Sarfaraz Mohammed. Alejandro Moreno. Alexandra Morris. Tazil Ike Mufenia. James Benjamin Musgrove. Melvin Samuel Nash II. Brooks Neely. Eric Michael Nestle. Joan Wynn. Elizabeth Cruz Noellen. Felgon M. Patel. Selwyn Patterson. Kyle Peter. Ashley Pepitone. Kirsten Marie Phillips. Christopher Daniel Piner. Kalina Costa Plotke. Payam Peraza. Regina Renee Ragon. Sarah Redparth. Nicole Weiser Rhodes. Carrie Michelle Richardson. Lauren Ashley Riga. Samantha G. Robinson. Kimberly Ann Roholt. Blanca Rojo. Michelle Rossi. William Jason Rowland. Peter Daniel Rucker. Nicholas Salazar. Carlos Rafael Santiago. Heather Michelle Saperstein. Charles Ryan Sayers. Warren Blake Scoggins. Erin Elizabeth Scott. Ryan Schaefer. Henley Nicole Shaw. James Francis Simmermeyer II. Brian Valente Singleton. Joy Smith. Marcus Shane Smith. Matthew Sofer. J.T. Southern Jr. Peter Hall Steckel. Sally Tyre Stanger. Nini Rashida Stewart. Benjamin Carter Stidham. Jennifer Denise Strickland. Emily Strongwater. John Steislinger. Sufisha Timbaku. LaRonda S. Thomas. Latrice E. Thomas. Richard Lee Thompson. Lindsay Shea Tidwell. Cherie Tumbling. Kristen Amanda Turner. Natalie Marie Tyler. Charlotte Ashley Underwood. Karin DeVay Vinson. Jorge Verguez, I'm sorry. Jorge Verguez. Nanyameka Waddell. Brandon David Wagner. Jennifer Walker. Michael Dayton Whiteside. Ethan Scott Williams. Shaheem Williams. James David Williamson. Tiffany Alexandria Wills. Richard Brandon Wolf. Caroline Yee. Elizabeth Jan Young. Asleen Beth Zachary. Amy Butler Zapaka. Ferris Zainelovich.
Please stand for the benediction.
To the graduates, go out into God's world knowing that you do not go alone. Represent your clients well. Be the professionals that you have been trained to be. Serve your community. Remember those in need. Do not neglect your families, and above all, dream big dreams and achieve them. And now may the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace, this day and forever. Amen.
You may be seated, and please remain in your seats until all of the graduates have marched out. I want to thank again Representative Collins, Dean White, all of you who have attended, and again, congratulations to this amazing group of graduates. Thank you for coming.